The Gifts of Imperfection, Daring Greatly, and her latest, Rising Strong. In this book, she unveils groundbreaking new research on 3 phases of overcoming struggle: the reckoning, the rumble, and the revolution. I love how you start the book saying, we've all fallen. And we have the skin knees and bruised hearts to prove it. But scars are easier to talk about than they are to show, with all the remembered feelings laid bare. And rarely do we see wounds that are in the process of healing. Rising Strong, page 24.
Yeah, I think we've all fallen. I think we all have been hurt, disappointed, failure, heartbreak. The problem is in our culture today, if you listen to a talk or if you listen to someone tell a story, they set it up and they say, then I fell, then I got hurt, then we failed. And then all of a sudden in 20 seconds, but then I fought my way back up. We got our act together. I fell in love with someone new. But no one stops at that moment where we're really hurt and down and says, what happens here? What happens in this moment? We look away when people try to show us, or sometimes people are too ashamed to show us. But for me, writing this book, I've spent this career saying, be yourself, be brave, be in the arena, show up. And then we started getting emails like, I went into the arena, I showed up, and now I got my heart broke.
I lost my job.
Yeah. And so I really felt like it was ethically imperative to talk about what does it look like to get back up. And what's so crazy for me about in our culture today is we look at things like failure and disappointment and heartbreak and think, man, I don't want to be those folks. But those are the brave people. Look, the brokenhearted are the bravest among us because they dare to love somebody.
Yeah. And there is a process. You've done the scientific research combined with the spiritual knowing, and you don't separate the two. You say, I don't believe faith and reason are natural enemies. I don't trust a theologian who dismisses the beauty of science. Ain't that the truth? Or a scientist who doesn't believe in the power of mystery. So how do you qualify, qualitative research and reconcile that with spirituality?
Because as a researcher, my job is to develop a theory based on the data that explains a phenomenon. And I do that by trying to understand people's lived experiences. And so if I'm sitting across from thousands of people interviewing them, and they're telling me about the importance of spirituality in their life, or faith, or mystery, or grace, then it's my job as a social scientist to make sure that I include that in whatever theory I develop or whatever explanation I put forward.
What I think is amazing is that one of the things that you've understood as a researcher, as a mother, as a daughter living in the world, is that we are all looking for the same thing. That's how also we're connected.
Absolutely.
And you say that is, you capsulize it as we're all looking for a wholehearted life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, wholeheartedness is about being able to look at ourselves and to look at each other and say, I'm imperfect. I'm afraid. I'm vulnerable. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm also brave and worthy of love and belonging and joy. That's what everyone's looking for. Everyone's looking for this sense of I'm enough. And my imperfection doesn't change that.
This is when I knew we were kindred spirits, for real, because you included my favorite law, Newton's third law of motion here. I've always known that this law applies directly to our lives. It's just not some physical formula.
It's huge. And so the whole idea that for every action, there is an equal reaction.
Yep.
And so when something happens and it emotionally juices us up,
yes,
that doesn't just dissipate into the air. So for every time I feel hurt or feel ashamed or feel angry, I'm going to do something with that.
Yeah. Or that energy is creating its own thing already that's coming back.
Right.
That's why it may not show up immediately, but it just gets passed on to the next person.
Yeah, there was like these very patterned ways that people offload hurt and emotion instead of feel it. And there's anger and blame and avoidance. There's folks who push it down. I call it chandeliering. They push it down so far that they think they've got control of it. And then a seemingly innocent comment or something happens and they just, straight up to the chandelier.
Yeah.
They go into a rage. And and if you've ever worked with someone like that or were raised by a parent like that, that's trauma inducing. That's eggshell environment.
Absolutely.
And so for every action, there's a reaction. It's going to surface somewhere. The other thing that people do is they just stockpile it until their bodies say, I can't hold any more of this. I can't do it anymore.
And then their bodies turn on them.
Their bodies, because the body keeps score and it always wins.
Yeah.
So it's, I can't sleep at night,
That's
depression, anxiety. Yeah. So
body keeps score and it always wins.
Yeah.
Because it's taking in everything all the time.
Right.
Nothing ever leaves. That's why you can dream about your 5th grade teacher and you're 55.
Right.
And put yourself right back in that classroom.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's the wisest part of us.
Yes.